Hey guys, welcome to our review of The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 5, The Pirate. And on this week's episode, we essentially get a fucking simultaneous air and land battle. It was friggin' awesome. We are back into action here, and good, because we need some kind of antagonist in the season and some through line on where the fuck we're going. We get a tiny bit more clarification on that, but not by much. This is, I suppose, a sub-boss until the final boss is revealed. And so in this episode, we get a little self-contained story about how the Mandalorians help where the New Republic wouldn't. And they gain land on Grief Karga's planet, Navarro, yeah. And so I was, I was satisfied with this episode. I'm happy that we got to see that ship again, because I was like, what are these rumors about this? Cabbage dude, the seaweed guy. He was maybe going to be in Skeleton Crew as that boss, but no, I don't think he's going to be in Rush Hour 3. But we get some really cool dog fighters with the snub fighters, launch all fighters, and then you've got these pirates showing up to, give Grief Karga some grief, and the Mandalorians show up to help, which, I don't know, it kind of feels like a side thing. This is Din helping one of his buddies out. Is he particularly interested in the land? Yeah, the show makes it seem, because, previously he was offered a little plot of land, and I think the Mandos are helping out with the... I think they were going to help out anyway, but, Grief Karga ends up giving them a huge swath of land on the planet. He says, you may not have a home world, but you now have a home. So this is the Mandalorians kind of exerting their power as a third faction in the universe between these Imperial Remnant and the New Republic. So overall, I enjoyed this episode. It was better than, than I thought it might be, and we are definitely heading somewhere. I expected Moff Gideon in this. We don't get Moff Gideon. We get a tease of Moff Gideon, and so unfortunately, because what's the guy's name? Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Giancarlo said that he was in the season a lot. I'm like, well, what the fuck, man? It's fucking episode 5. There's more. 3. Goff.
That is not a lot.
Moff Gideon better be in the last 3, and that's it. I mean, you better start with motherfucking episode 6. You better start with Gideon, right? And it is sort of revealed a little bit of a twist at the end in a fantastic final scene. I really love the atmosphere that was set up here in this last one. Kind of made me feel where the pilot is exploring, this derelict shuttle ship, and he's using a probe from R7, and it's got the aliens vibes to it, and it's an investigation. I love this. If this was what was supposed to be like the New Republic Rangers series, I'm down for it. We get a little bit of Rebel pilots in this as well, kind of hanging out. A huge cameo from a Rebels character that we'll talk about. So I liked it. What did you guys think of The Pirate?
I think this episode picked up a little bit, but I still enjoyed it, but it's not as strong as the other ones were in the other seasons. I liked the little mystery intrigue, kind of like in the beginning. What I forgot what that lady's name. I was trying to look it up.
Which lady?
The one who betrayed the doctor. She comes in there.
Yeah, I think her name is Kane.
Yeah, it's like we need to send some help over there. The guy comes in. She's like, oh no, they're not members.
Tim Meadows, do you want anything to eat? Bitch, we're having a meeting.
I know what you're trying to do.
Fucking walk in while we're talking. You're an Imperial Remnant, and you're going to fucking ask, do you want anything from the commissary? Bitch, I'm talking.
Yeah. So
they just jam her in here so that she kind of interrupts.
And make sure that they don't send help, obviously. And I like the dogfights. I like it was very entertaining. I liked what was going on, but at the same time, it was kind of like a little basic story. At the end, I did like the way they were doing with Bo-Katan, but this is doesn't seem like a Mandalorian like season anymore. Bo-Katan is obviously up front and center, and here she continues to be up front and center. I don't know. Like they could have just done something towards the end, and like I guess do a spinoff with her.
I think she already has a spinoff show
Then
coming.
why put him so much in the back? Because he's like, for this episode, he was just there, be like, all right, let's go help him, and then we don't see much of him at all.
I see that criticism. I've heard that criticism.
And this is supposed to be
season
the
3 is
Mandalorian.
trying. Season 3 is definitely trying to universe build, not just Mandalorian, but they're setting up a universe build. They're trying to move the Mandalorians forward. I think it's fine, so as long as we get on track right the fuck now, right?
I think we are,
because in this episode, it is literally, you are the chosen one. You will lead the Mandalorians to unite us all. Not Din, Bo-Katan. This is what you guys wanted, right? Alex is like, I'm not sure if Bo-Katan, Din would lead the whole thing by the end. I think it's better, and I liked this idea too, where he gets to, like season 3, we figure out who is going to be the leader of Mandalorian, and then by the end of this season, she is crowned, whatever, and then Din can do his own fucking, like, go Clint Eastwood. Do more Clint Eastwood, because ultimately a show about fucking, governance is not going to be exciting if Din is the one that's left in charge. So we have to set her up. We have to be like, okay, we're going to do
set her up. Like, you don't have to go this hard.
I think this series has always had multiple meanings. If you look, ever since the very beginning, every single episode title has been referring to multiple characters, like the convert or the pirate. In this case, it could refer to obviously the seaweed guy, or it can refer to the fact that Grief Karga used to be a pirate and now he's like in charge. So it has these double meanings. So the Mandalorian, which is what the episode is called, can obviously refer to Din. It can maybe refer to Bo-Katan or the leader of the Mandalorians temporarily for a few episodes, and then filter back in. And then it could also, I'm hoping eventually, maybe be about Grogu. Grogu being the Mandalorian and taking that mantle up. So, but I totally get what you're saying, and I see a lot of people saying that. But I think now that we have it looks like season 3, because we still don't really have like a villain yet. Right?
We kept mentioning Moff.
There's a mention of Moff. Yeah, it's got to be him. And then the pirates are your sub-villain, right? We got to clear the area of pirates because they filled in the gap that the Empire left after they defeated those Gideon's forces. So they'll come back. But it seems like season 3 is basically, let's set up where the Mandalorians are at. Let's have Mandalorians recapture their home planet, which is why it confused me in this episode. It's like, now you live here. This is your home. I'm like, but wait a minute.
Now they live on top, not on the
Mandalore is breathable. Why aren't we going over there?
That could have been. Yeah, that's what I didn't get either, because they said it's dangerous, but where you were at was just as dangerous. Your kids got kidnapped every so often. The alligator came in. Just go take your home back.
Yeah, and I'm glad they're leaving that fucking planet, because they're like, okay, now that this guy knows where we live, we're going to relocate anyway. He's like, now that I showed up here, the pilot shows up. He's like, I know you're going to relocate anyway. And I'm like, good, fuck this place.
Yeah, again, it's a solid episode, but a little bit... I didn't like some aspects.
So. Uneven. Okay. Alex.
Yeah, I think this is a really solid episode, but this is the episode that established season 3 as a complete and total storytelling failure. This episode, this entire season so far has not had any direction. We are at the end. We are now more than halfway through the season, and you don't know who the bad guy is. You don't know what the problem is. We had episodes that went literally fucking nowhere, and I mean, there's some writing in here. It's like, I love the starfighting stuff. I love the ground stuff, except for the moments. Again, this fucking writing team, they love showing off how incompetent the people that I want to root for are to make other characters, their self-inserts, badasses. They're like, oh man, we're completely surrounded. It's like, you got jetpacks. You can't be surrounded in an alley because you got jetpacks. You can't. You got rockets on your back. And they're like, no, Favreau's self-insert guy's got to show up and go and take care of everybody. And like, I'm just tired of that shit. The New Republic is awful. They're decommissioning all of their fucking ships. They're getting rid of all of their fighters. They're doing completely everything while people... It's like, if we've established that there's all this turmoil and pirates and strife, they wouldn't be decommissioning all their fighters and shit. They would be sending their Rangers out and doing like helping people. But apparently, we're just going to paint them as
We
complete.
have to tie into the thing that you don't want to tie into.
Yeah,
You're right.
they have to be completely
We
and
have
totally
to-
incompetent in
yeah.
order to make the sequels able to happen. Because how is the giant walking pickle going to take over if they're competent?
Yeah.
And so it's like I don't give a shit about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, the explosions were fucking cool, and I think this episode on its own, in a complete and total vacuum, was awesome. And I think you should watch it. There's some things I didn't like about it, like the ambush scene, but. Man, after finishing this
This should
episode,
have been like motherfucking episode 2 or 3,
Yeah.
right? Not fucking 5 or 6.
yeah,
okay?
like we're at the point, like we are more than halfway through, and it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, well, I don't give a shit. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do in the
There's
last
no
three
doubt.
episodes.
Look, I agree with you. We all agree
Yeah.
with you. We were the ones that told y'all motherfuckers that
Yeah.
we're kind of spinning our wheels here at the beginning of the season, a little aimless, and then people got mad at us, but now people are like, okay, you're right. Does this episode do enough, Alex, to not enough yet? Okay, so we'll see. If,
There's nothing that can happen in the last 3 episodes that will make up for
well, damn, man.
No, seriously, if
Yeah.
the majority of the whatever you're watching is bad and it only gets good at the very
Yeah.
end, it doesn't mean it was a good movie. It just means that the ending was really sweet. So it's
No,
like,
I agree. What I think is going to happen, because you only got 3 episodes, I actually
Yeah.
don't think we're going to get a huge Imperial presence with Moff Gideon. Clearly, it is about Mandalorians, and they teased it there at the end. It's going to be Moff Gideon with Mandalorians. Now, that to me is awkward. It feels out of place. It feels like, well, we're going to do a Mandalorian season. We still want a villain. Instead of getting, I don't know, some Mandalorian specific asshole or something, we're going to get Moff Gideon and we're just going to turn him into a Mandalorian or something. I don't know how they're doing it, but something like that where, they just said Bo-Katan's going to go out and find all the factions. Well, please don't let this happen. This is going to be like, what, Cobra Kai, Karate, like all of them show up and Moff Gideon shows up as a part of the faction. Motherfucker, you're supposed to be in jail. He's like, I don't care. This is my Mandalorian faction. You took the dark saber. Yeah, I lost once, but let me get another chance at it. I'll fuck you up, and then I'll lead everything. That's kind of what it's feeling like,
no.
and I hope that's not the case. I hope it's more like, he's rejoining the remnants. Maybe there's Thrawn has a plan, but I'm thinking Thrawn is still lost in the warp somewhere, so he is not in there. That is going to be Ahsoka. That is far in the future.
That's
They're
a lot to
teasing
set up,
that
too, in
because
3
Zeb
episodes.
just showed up in this, and I fucking love. I mean, I like Rebels, and so it was really cool seeing him. And I was like, okay, what else is he getting? He's at the end. He's going to show up in a fighter, save the pilot while he's doing the investigation. He comes under attack. Zeb saves him or something. No, that was it. Zeb's like, all right, man, be careful. And that was the cameo. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's very cool seeing him in live action. You going from cartoon to the live action, and you got the voice actor. This is, you like this guy. He's Spike and Cowboy Bebop, and so Steve Bloom, something like that. And I'm excited for the future. You could definitely tell we're getting live action Ezra, getting live action Thrawn. This sets all that up. But it's just a little ting there that it's like, I give him a little bit more. Maybe he'll have more in the next 3 episodes, or maybe they're gonna do the spinoff without Cara Dune, and they're gonna do that Republic show or whatever. That is gonna be the most fucking frustrating show I've ever watched in my life if they do a Republic show, because it's like, oh my God, there's a bunch of bad guys over here and they're doing bad things, and sir, can we go and stop them? No. Why? I don't know. I don't want to.
we melted all of our guns. It's like, but we knew all the bad guys were still around. It's like, yeah, but we melted them.
That series would suck. And they have to do it like that in order to tie into the terrible Disney sequels in which the New Republic was so incompetent, and one of the leaders of the rebellion, Leia's like, fuck all you people. I'm starting a new rebellion within the winning rebellion called the Resistance. I'm going to resist against the rebellion who rebelled against the Empire because you guys are so fucking incompetent. And they were, and they got their asses kicked for it, but they have to tie into that, I guess. So we get little hints of that. They show you people on the front lines know what's up. They want to fight, but their management, motherfucking Tim Meadows doesn't let them. Anytime I see Tim Meadows, he's in everything. I love his voice. He does a lot. But to me, it's Tim Meadows. It's not a motherfucking Star Wars bureaucracy dude. It's like, saying, no, we can't do that, and is easily convinced by, I don't know, fucking donuts in the commissary and gets distracted easily, by
But
red
they're not
tape and
paying
shit.
members, so we
Right.
gotta help the
We have
members
to
out.
help the members first, but you ain't even helping the fucking members. Like, just shut up. Just shut up. Anyways, so yeah, let's go ahead and go into final verdicts, and then we'll do an episode breakdown.
I'm gonna go with the 7. I did enjoy this film. I did enjoy this episode. It was a lot longer than the other one. I don't know why. I'm still upset they cut Carl's episode shorter for some reason. I
22
don't
minutes,
know why.
yeah.
This was a better, longer episode. A lot of cool action scenes happen, but at the end of the day, not a lot of stuff for me to move the plot forward. We still have so many questions going on, and this late in the game.
Yeah, this is like, what are the main things that happen in this?
They got their
That moves
land
the
back.
story forward.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
okay, they got
Moff Gideon's still out there.
Okay, and they got their land back, and then, okay, right? Oh, and Bo-Katan will unite the clans. She's gonna leave, and she's gonna unite.
Yeah, I think that. Well, the next episode is it gonna be just her trying to find people and talk to them? Because
I would feel my feeling is that it's gonna be another slow, low budget episode, and then the final 2 they'll go action with mini Mandos versus each other.
And that's not a good place to be right now at this point.
Yeah.
So 7 for me. Good, solid episode. It's a good watch, but at the end of the day, not a lot of answers.
Yeah, I like this one. I'm trying to not let all of the other things kind of seep in. I don't think that Bo-Katan needs to have her introduction in The Mandalorian. I think if you're going to make a Bo-Katan show, that character is interesting enough. We've established it so much in other Disney properties, or what became Disney properties, that she doesn't need to be cannibalizing a huge portion of The Mandalorian Season 3 to set up her own show. It feels out of place, and it kind of felt like the same way like The Mandalorian ended up being like the best part of Boba Fett. This just feels like we're taking more away from The Mandalorian. It's like Grogu wasn't really in this episode. Grogu sat there. And so it's like we had a full episode, and he's kind of supposed to be like the important thing, and we're not focusing on that. Din's just flying around like a crazy person. So I think I'm going to give this one an 8. I really did like the action scenes. I'm only taking points away because of how stupid the directors end up being with like, oh, we're surrounded. It's like you have jetpacks. And then maybe they're out of fuel, but no, then they fly away later. It's like you can't. It's like they do things to set up. They weaken things to make other things appear stronger. And I think it's super weak writing.
And that's always been the problem, too. It's like, let's set this cool action scene up, but degrade everything else behind it.
Yeah, it reminds me of playing bad D&D adventures where like the DM purposely almost wipes your team out so his self-insert character can save the day, and that's what the Filoni Mandalorian scene was for me. It's like, this is bad, I don't like this. And I really don't like the New Republic stuff where there's a giant backlog of people being attacked by pirates, and they're like, oh, we can't even help them.
You're on
like,
cue.
why are you liquidating your fleet and all of your ships?
When clearly there's a need.
If there's a giant need within the Republic.
Within pirates.
Yeah, and then we talked about it. It's to set up the sequel. So anytime the sequel stink comes in, it's lowering my score a little bit. That's where I'm getting the 2 points away. But I do think this episode is fun to watch.
You giving it an 8?
I get an 8.
Damn, boy, you talking shit the whole fucking day. You gave it an 8. Okay, good. I am between a 7 and an 8 as well. Flashy explosions and dogfights, always get me. I do think that we kind of dug our heel in and we stopped, and now we're moving forward because you have another episode where shit is not focused and there's no through line. I'm gonna be fucking pissed. But I think this is the one where it's like, okay, we got a home. We got a home. Fuck that stupid planet. I hate it. We let all the kids die, and I don't give a fuck, and we're incompetent. We were idiots on that planet. We'll be badasses here because they show up, they be badasses, and we're good now. So we're going to either live here until somebody is able to unite all of the Mandalorians. Then we will move to Mando. So it is a stepping stone for that, and it is the impetus for the rise of Bo-Katan to take control. And, they're kind of telegraphing this. I'm wondering how Din is feeling this whole time. Like, can we, I know Din is, helping his friends and stuff, but how do you feel about this? He didn't really say anything at the end of the episode. He's kind of surprised that she took her helmet off, and he's like, motherfucker, I did a whole fucking season because I took my helmet off, and now you just let her take her helmet off? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Right?
But this is the way.
And you're gonna lead the Force? Okay, fine. I don't think Din wants to lead anyway, but you know what I mean? So I don't know if there's still gonna be. So initially I thought there would be tension between these two, but honestly, if they put tension between these two, it's gonna come out of nowhere, and it's gonna be forced. It's not gonna make sense if they're like, no, wait a minute now. You know, I guess maybe the helmet thing because he had to go through so much before, to rebathe himself, and then you're just like, okay, well. We'll see what they do with it, right? If there's a Din versus Bo-Katan for the Darksaber for uniting everything, or if he's just like, no, man, she's my boy now, and I'm gonna support her, and me and Grogu, we're gonna do something else in season 4. We're just helping you in season 3. We're just gonna help you out. Season 4, that's what we're gonna do because that's what it feels like, Joe. It feels like. Din Djarin is a supporting character in this particular season.
Yes. And
I feel like it's going to be that way the whole way. And that's probably why we're like, hey, this season doesn't feel as good as season 1 and 2. Well, there's some clear fucking reasons why. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are like the Mandalorian in season 1 and 2 were the best parts of Star Wars. And now let's use this show like we used Clone Wars and we used Rebels to reinforce the universe, to expand the universe. And when you do that, sometimes they have to take focus away from Din and Grogu to set up what else is happening in the greater galaxy and how factions will set up for the future. We've got a more legitimate third faction in addition to the First Order that will eventually come from the Remnant, and then we have the incompetent New Republic, but they're bringing up the Mandalorians, which will then beg the question, well, where the fuck are the Mandalorians while the New Order is doing bullshit? And they're like, nah, we're staying out of it, man. I don't give a fuck.
we got glassed last time. We don't want to do it again.
Right, but exactly. But if, in my opinion, they'd be like, oh, fuck no. You mean the Empire's back and we have more power than them at this moment? No, fuck you. We're going to beat your ass for what you did last time. So, I don't know. It just seems like this is the Mandalore season. We're going to figure out the leadership of Mandalore. We're going to unite all the clans at the end, and then the Darksaber will be resolved, and then when we move forward in season 4 or 5, hopefully we can focus more on Din, but this is definitely Bo season. So I'm with all that in mind. I was gonna go an 8. I think after talking about it a little bit more, I'm gonna go a 7. 7 out of 10, and we'll talk about some of the little cameos and details that we saw in the episode. And but hopefully, all right, no more fucking around. These last 3 episodes are gonna be supercharged. They better be, right? And so here, what do you want for the next 3 episodes, Joe?
I want to know
basically
who is the main villain, what the fuck is going on.
Okay.
Can we find out? I guess I just want more.
My question to you, does there need to be a main villain? Like, what I think is that I think they're setting up, hey, here comes all the clans. We're going to have a final battle between the clans or some honor fight to lead Mandalore. That's all they have time for. They don't have enough time to set up a villain unless Moff Gideon comes up and all these fucking ships show up.
I wouldn't have minded if it was just like I said, season 3 was episodic like the other ones. I wouldn't have minded, but this is like every episode. It's like, oh, this is the threat. This is the threat. This is the threat. Oh, he's a threat. He's a threat. So you keep mentioning him. There's a build-up coming up. So then you're just gonna reveal him at the very last episode.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, it worked really, really well for the Black Adam movie.
But I think they're tying him into, it's like Moff Gideon is a bitch, and but he doesn't have very much power, so he needs allies. And right now, I don't think he has allies amongst the Imperial Remnant. What they're trying to say is the Imperial Remnant in his sector was obliterated and destroyed. Even his own officers that were loyal to him are now working in New Republic to kind of be his eyes and ears, that one traitor girl. Yeah. And so he needs a new faction. And clearly, I'll talk about it in the breakdown, but I guess they're going to be Super Commandos. If you don't know, Super Commandos are from Clone Wars, where they are the faction loyal to the Empire. because there was a break on Mandalore. You had, fucking Darth Maul. Basically, their armor is red and black. They have spikes on their head, and they were kind of loyal to the Empire. And so there might be a few Mandalorians. That's what they're going to do. So they're going to get a bunch of different factions. You're going to have a bunch of different, like, cool little types of armor. And one of the factions is going to be, Rufio! And it's like, we're the ones loyal to the Empire. We don't like you. And now we've got a champion, and it's Moff Gideon, and he had the Darksaber. Let's do the karate tournament fight. And then they're trying to be the winners. It's like Cobra Kai. Yeah, I think. Or they try to, right? But then, Mando stops them, and Bo-Katan stops them or something. That's what I'm thinking. And then when Moff Gideon loses again, and he's at his lowest, and he's like, the Super Commandos suck, and I hate everything, then maybe he'll get a message, and, the personal turnaround, and it'll be Thrawn, and he's like, oh, Master. He's like, yeah, we finally have somebody to lead us. But that kind of turns Gideon into a bitch, but that's fine.
Well, that and obviously more focus on the Mando. Like you did
ain't happening.
You did a great job with season 1 and 2. Everyone wants to see the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
that's what we're here for. And then if you want to continue,
like,
if you want to continue on season 4, I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm not.
It has to. Yeah,
we've set up zero conflict.
But season 4 would be Mando because they would have gotten this out of the way.
Maybe.
Not maybe, 100%. The only reason why they're focusing on this, Alex, is to set up leadership for Mandalore, and they don't want Din to be the leader of Mandalore.
Yeah,
they want to free him up in order to do other things.
They're setting up new TV shows. They're setting up the new Bo TV show. But next year, Kathleen Kennedy may tell them, you got to set up this TV show. You got to do this next couple times. Like, we're not focusing on the things that made this series special. We are going in the last 3 episodes. We've not set up any conflict. We've not set up any bad guy. And they're going to introduce a bad guy at the very end of the movie. You're going to expect me to care. It's why I mentioned Black Adam. It's like, who gives a shit? Who is this guy? Why is there a giant CGI fight at the end?
We already know who it is. It's Moff Gideon, who was helped out by Mandalorians. Why Mandalorians would help Moff Gideon, you better have a good fucking explanation. The only fucking thing I can think of is some Mandos are so pieces of shit that they're still even loyal to the Empire, even though their entire fucking planet was glassed. That doesn't make sense to me. They'd be like, nah, fuck this.
I really don't like that investigation scene where he's like, it's Mandalorians. Like, Beskar, everyone's got Beskar. If they find Beskar all over the goddamn place, it doesn't mean there was Mandalorians, because it could have been anyone wearing Beskar.
Yeah, that's why I know it's going to be Goff with Mandalorians, because it's so telegraphed.
It's so terrible.
It's like for the audience. Oh, my God, he was rescued by Mandalorians. Wait a minute. How does you know that? There was a piece of... It was
carved in the wall. I was rescued by Mandalorians. He used his fingernails.
Oh, they could have done it better. They could have just checked the video logs, right? And you have these guys, man, they put up a hell of a fight, but they had no chance because, it showed like a foot or something, and it's like, you could see that they're Mandalorians that jumped in there. What the fuck? All right. Anyways, so 7 out of 10, and now we go to the episode breakdown. So,
in the beginning, we see Carl Weathers. All right, this is what we're gonna do. Let's make the warehouse closer to the supply room, and then all of a sudden the pirates show up. He's like, "Hey,
shooting the fucking place up.
I'm gonna start killing you because you killed my crew." He's like, "Well, they shot first." Like, "Well, I'm gonna shoot first now."
Yeah.
It's like, "Well, I'm gonna bluff."
They're assholes.
I'm gonna bluff and tell them, "Well, the New Republic is coming. They usually do patrols." So you better be on guard. He's like, you're a liar.
Yeah.
They're too busy with other stuff because they're being incompetent.
Yeah, they can't even handle pirates in the mid.
Yeah, it's like I've been taking care of other stuff, so I know you're lying. And he opens fire. And then we get another scene at the bar.
At the bar?
Yeah, with the pilots.
Pilots.
He's like, hey, this is for you.
And so, it's Grief Karga, and he's like, hey, you once said that, you'd help me out, and so I'm calling in that favor, and so this guy who has basically bailed him out every fucking time, let Mando go in a bunch, he's a badass, and I would watch, this is why I wanted a Rogue Squadron, because I think, Rebel pilots, mess halls and bars and cantinas, and, that shit works. And then the camaraderie on a carrier ship, and you're going on various missions. That's X-Wing. the video game X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, like that it would be so great. But I guess that's not happening because Patty Jenkins ejected, and then Kathleen, I don't know what's going on with her. She's anyways, like, she's fucking up bad because there's no actual Star Wars movies. They're trying to get one. We'll see at the Star Wars Celebration, right? I guess we have to wait all the way till May to know what the fuck is happening. Anyways, so that's when he flies on over to. We see the Zeb cameo from Rebels. We were like, yeah, all right, what's he going to do in the episode? Oh, he's just drinking. He says, all right, good luck. It's like, okay. Well, clearly that's a tease. Clearly you're going to get the gang back together. You would not go through all the work of getting the voice actor back, doing the live action CGI versus a cartoon if you're never going to use them again. So clearly in the Ahsoka series, you get the band back together with the Rebels when Thrawn. This is basically confirmation of all that, of Ezra, of everything. And we already have confirmation of that because he was cast as Ezra in behind-the-scenes stuff if you haven't been paying attention. So these are teases to that. He goes to the New Republic. Motherfucker Tim Meadows says, don't put those on my table. And the robot puts it on the table. And he's like, yeah, so he's a bureaucrat and he doesn't want to help. Why? I think he wasn't going to help anyway, but the bitch had to come in the room. Kane is like, we don't need to help him. And he's like, why? Like, what does that matter? We're just going to let people suffer? And she's like, yeah. They're not in the charter, so we don't have to help them. Let them realize that they should have agreed to the charter.
Of course, that's your take.
This is like, that's not how we do it here at the New Republic. And Tim Meadows agrees with her, so he's, apparently that's how we do it here in the New Republic. Because the New Republic sucks ass. I fucking hate that we fought the Empire so hard. We won. We had to party. Yup, nup. Da, 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 da. Yup, nup. And then we put a bunch of morons in charge. It pisses me off.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, well, that's real life, I guess. So then they say no. And he's like, fuck. So then he flies all over to the Mandalorians to cash in his favor because he let him go. And then so he cashed in. He's like, we're going to kill you where you stand. And all the Mandos are like, oh, my God, there's one pilot. Oh, he's reaching for his pocket. We're all going to die. We have Beskar armor, but we're all going to die because there's one pilot. All right, just calm down, Mandalorians. I know you're trying to position like, big cocks and everything. But he's just asking for help. And so Mando's like,
where was that kind of reaction when the bird was coming down?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's like,
oh, God. Oh, there he goes.
There goes Jimmy again. Like,
here comes this pilot. Back the fuck up, man.
Hey, get on out of here. Never come back. We'll hunt you down.
Which we did find out they were stranded.
Oh, yeah, we did find they dropped a line.
We have no ships.
I don't know if they're stranded, but they did drop a line saying we have no ships.
Where were they going to
go?
Fucking
They're
stupid.
stranded. That's fucking stupid. So they must have paid somebody to move them all, in a single
Here's
ship.
some hush money. Don't tell them where we're at.
So all of them, whatever. But they did explain it, so I'll get a little fucking, we just got to mention it. What else? Alex, what the fuck happens?
I want to know where the little birds are because they're gonna have to bring the birds from Dinosaur Island to Navarro now because they're foundlings.
Yeah.
So they're gonna make Bo-Katan go pick them up because they don't have any ships.
Yes,
it's like, yeah, you gotta go bring me my.
Which, by the way, those birds cannot fit in that fucking ship with all the other rest of the Mandalorians. But okay, fine. Yeah. So we're gonna do that. That's gonna be their temporary base until they move to Mandalore because that's where this is going. You got to move back to Mandalore eventually. For the Mythosaur, they're going to tie in the Mythosaur. It's going to be Bo-Katan. She'll lead. She'll get either the Darksaber or the Darksaber doesn't even matter anymore. It's the Mythosaur.
They're going to do they're going to do the Avatar thing where it's just like you get to unite the clans because you ride they're the legendary person that rides the thing and it's just.
And then at the end, and she'll be like, and you, Din, will be my right hand, administrator. He's like, nah, I'm cool.
I'm gonna go be a cop on Navarro.
Yeah.
With my
baby. I think. Well, yeah, or just explore. I want him to get out of here.
Yeah. Well, they end up in a cave. They're passing around the sacred hammer. The hammer is the one that lets you speak, even though the Mandalorians are constantly whispering, which is rude as fuck. They're Mandalorians, pieces of shit. He's trying to give a speech. He's like, "Hey, I wanna help this guy, even though he killed a lot of you." And then Jon Favreau, Mandalorian, gets up and he's like, yeah, Din's a bitch and I hate him and we shouldn't do any of this stuff. And he's just kidding. Din's actually really cool. He saved my son that I had given up on because I didn't like him very much. And we should all go kick everyone's ass. And then everyone clapped. And then they went.
I like these two buddies. And I remember one, I watched it 2 times. I noticed that, what's his name? God, I always forget that character's name.
PV, right?
Pez.
Pez dispenser.
Vizsla.
He put his head back in.
Pez, I think it is Pez Vizsla.
Oh, cool.
I think it is.
Cool.
There's Pre-Vizsla and then there's Pez. Or Pev, one of them. He looks at Mando to see, is this cool? And Mando's like, yeah, it's cool. So he's like, they're bros. So I like that. Anyways, that was at the end of the episode when she took her helmet off. But yeah, so he makes this speech like, fuck him. But I thought that was effective because he simultaneously addressed all of the motherfuckers that was about to say, nah, we're not doing it. And then appealed to their greater sides. We're Mandalorians. Let's stop being bitches and let our fucking kids die. And this planet is kicking our ass. Let's leave. Let's go kick somebody else's ass. So it was clever that he did it that way because it addressed both sides. So then they are like, okay, everybody pile into Bo-Katan's ship. Okay, just a few of us pile into Bo-Katan's ship and we'll do the drop. And she's like, everybody needs to work as a military unit. You don't need to fucking tell the Mandalorians how to fucking operate. She's like, okay, when we get in there, everybody needs to use their guns and shoot the enemy is kind of what it felt like. It's like,
look,
right.
They practice by shooting the lake. They need to be told the most basic of instructions. Do not put the gun in your mouth. Do not point the gun at anything that you do not want to kill. Hey, stop looking at that window.
Yeah. So then we go to a badass fight scene. Motherfucker shows up, and it's the Mandalorian as a distraction. Just shoots the Corsair. I think it was a Columbus class Corsair ship. I like it. I want it. I want a little miniature. I want Star Wars Armada to give me a little set. Yeah, and then so he shoots it, gets all the snub fighters, which we counted them because I was like, all right. Multiple times, because Alex is like, where's all these fucking fighters showing up from? There's like 1,000 fighters. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And then he's like, no, okay, so we rewind. And I'm like, how many fighters did they show in the fucking thing? So now I was like, there's 6 fighters. There's no way there's more than 6. And Alex was right. There were more than 6 fighters.
There's like 10.
Now, when we rewind it in the little, strategy session, they show 6 fighters, but she says it has a complement of fighters. So you never pin down how many fighters are. So that's just dramatic, thing. And it looks like it can only handle 3 to 6, but apparently it can handle 10. Because he shoots a lot of them. It's like, they're behind you. They're above you. They're below you.
He's inside me. What?
He's inside, but what? But it was a distraction, and then she is able, Bo-Katan shows up and drops the fucking jump troopers out, fucking paratroopers, and they start assaulting. Then they get pinned down somehow from both sides. Alex is mad because they have jump jets, but
and
not all of them. I don't think all of them can afford jetpacks.
No, they all do. They
jumped out of the drop ship.
That's
literally
right.
every single one of them. They all
if they didn't, they're fucking dead.
Fuck around and die. They also all have rockets, and like there's just so many ways that you can do this scene, and then the lazy way that you steal from whatever war movie you watched in the 90s is.
The point is they're being overwhelmed, not that we are out the
point is they wanted Jon Favreau's guy to drop down because they're all wearing indestructible bulletproof armor, and so he drops down like RoboCop because he's indestructible and goes and takes them all out.
Until the tower puts a green laser up and a turbo laser, and he fires and he kills a few Mandalorians. But we get a glorious moment from the armorer, and she gets involved. We've not seen her fight.
Hammer time.
She's hammer time. She's fighting with her forging tools. She doesn't need specialized weapons. She just grab him by the nose with the pincher. Hammer time. Yeah. So she takes it out, and they are able to, advance. And the pirates basically get their asses kicked, as they should, by the Mandalorians. But in the air, the distraction worked. And he calls back the snub fighters, but too late. Their engines have been disabled. They got like an engine left. They should retreat, but this motherfucking seaweed guy says something, and I couldn't hear him because he's, I couldn't understand what he says. He gets pissed off. He's like, no, we're not leaving. I'm just going to shoot everybody. So then he's trying to use the ship to fire at the townspeople and wipe them out. And this was his fatal mistake because the Mando and Bo-Katan as a team cooperate to take out the last of the engine, which I guess also affects their grav engines to where they can no longer be in the sky, and it does the whole Super Star Destroyer like sound, and I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool. I have to mention, and I wrote it down here, how awesome every single explosion is. The fire looks so good. It looks real. And even when the flyers are flying past the fire, it plumes or through the fire. It just looks great. It's the budget is here, and this is not a cheap show. This is not Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge. This is definitely looking good. This is movie quality shit. So, he crashes. I don't think he's going to be in Rush Hour 3. I thought the rumor was this motherfucker was going to be in Skeleton Crew. That motherfucker ain't in Skeleton Crew unless the Skeleton Crew it happens before this or something. Or maybe Did
you see the body?
Maybe it was Vane, because Vane actually, I don't know how the fuck this Vane guy keeps, getting out of these things. No, leave him alive. Why? Let him run. Okay, we left him alive. Okay, now he's fighting. He's about to kill me. No, let him go. And so he betrays his captain and he flies away. And then his captain dies. And so maybe there will be Vane in future seasons. They're just using him as a comedy relief bad guy, like a sub-boss kind of thing. So everybody cheers on the surface of the planet, and Greef Karga gives the speech. The Mandalorians are now going to live among us. They're awesome. You now have a home. So everybody's happy. But just then, Paz, Vizsla gets pretty serious. It's like, hey, Armor wants to talk to you. Then he escorts her like they're going to execute her. No. And she goes down there, and apparently the Armor is like, look, I like you. I like you a lot. You need to unite the clans. You can do it whatever way you want. You want to take your helmet off? Go ahead. In fact, take your helmet off right now.
I thought it was a trap.
I thought it was a trap, too. I was like, that would have been cool. She's like, you're not the one. Now I
thought it was going to be a trap, too, because she's like, she's been on the other side. I don't want her corrupting our children or anything.
But no, she has a 180, and she's like, no, please corrupt our children. And fuck the way, I know I made Din go through hell. He's probably going to be mad.
He took it off for like 2 seconds. You had it off for years, but you're fine.
You're fine.
I like you.
She walks both ways. It's like, but can I not walk both ways? I know I was walking one way, but if I walked another way, and nope, because she was not walking that way, and then she walked our way. Now she gets to walk this way.
Walk this way.
I knew you'd do it.
Yep.
And so she's like, Bo-Katan will leave us, and she will go and talk to all the clans and bring them all together. This is why I think there's, you have no other time except for karate tournament. Gideon is one faction of this karate Mandalorian tournament for the leadership of Mandalore. There is no huge there is no huge Imperial remnant fleet that the Mandalores will have to help, Greef Karga fight against or retake Mandalore against. That'll come later. That'll come season 4 or 5 whenever they push out the Thrawn, saga or whatever they'll call it, the phase. So I think just prepare yourself for this is about Mandalore. And by the end of this season, we'll know who is in charge of Mandalore, and we'll know how Din fits in. And I guess maybe we'll deal with Moff Gideon because you defeat him once, he runs away, he comes back in this season. You're gonna defeat him again, he's gonna run away a second time. We doing a Phasma? Like I don't know. So
Well, we know where the Mando fits. He's
Where does
more of a
Mando
loner.
fit?
He's more of a loner. Always been his thing. That's what we've grown accustomed to.
Right.
He doesn't want to be in this, but
Okay.
he still respects their ways. But he wants to walk his own path.
So yeah, and I think y'all were right about that, and I think that's how it'll be. Unless, in future season Bo-Katan dies or something, he's forced to take it. He doesn't want it, but
Because I don't see him as
gives it to the kid.
the other way.
Grogu is the leader.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's how we think. We got 3 episodes left. What did you guys think of this particular episode? Do you think we're on track now? How do you compare season 3 so far to the previous
We
seasons?
got to play catch up.
And yeah, we got 3 episodes left. Let us know. Would you be satisfied with just this Mando story? Because I think that's what we're getting.
No.
No.
Okay. All right, well, what do you think? Leave it in the comments down below. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.
Hey, guys.